good morning, afternoon, evening, or 2:21 p.m. if that's when you're listening to this. Either way, welcome on in to another video where I'm going to be talking about IGN Live, their first E3-like experience since E3 is dead. It's dead. But we're going to be talking about this because they just, it is Wednesday and just ended on Sunday. Summer Game Fest kind of has fully come to an end now for creators. So there's just a ton of gaming news out there. We have so many cool things to look forward. The Xbox Showcase had a ton. Summer Game Fest had some really cool showings as well. A lot of indie darlings. Outer Sloth. I just love shouting Outer Sloth out whenever, because that was the developers of Among Us who then took all that money they made from being super popular all of a sudden and then made an indie fund to help fund other indie projects for other studios trying to make their games. Other indie studios trying to get their game made, which is what an awesome way to like pay it forward. I think that's a good way of putting it, right? They got a bunch of money because they were successful, you know, in a small little indie game called Among Us. And instead of just, I don't know, scaling up their team and like doing that, they're like, let's just, you know, let's see how we can help other people potentially achieve the success we found. And yeah, that's just really, really cool. Outer Sloth, keep an eye out for their games. But we're here talking about IGN Live, of course. This is, you can see the photo here. This is outside the location where it took place. It took place at the Magic Box or at the Reef. The Reef at the Magic Box. One of those. Down in downtown LA. And it was a cool venue. I've never been there before. It's like a building, and it looks like it's an art spot, you know, like open air concept, you know, so you can come in and host your own events. So it made sense for IGN Live. It makes perfect sense for their first ever event. You can kind of look at the outside. It may look kind of small and like unassuming, right? It is kind of small on the inside, and we'll get into that. But I think for the first year, great venue. I personally probably am going to miss if it's not here the next year, and they do scale up because they are doing it next year. They already announced that. But if they do scale up, and it's going to be sad that it's not here because this was a nice, intimate, cozy little venue. So we'll see what they do in the future. But yeah, so cool location, good area. So for people not familiar with downtown LA or LA in general, you know, I mean, any big city now has a lot of homeless population or unhoused population, and it's unfortunate, and it does cause issues and such, and can cause conflict, right? Especially when you're hosting a video game event and some people are just living down the street on the sidewalk a block away. So yeah, but they had a ton of security. I want to make sure I'm not trying to vilify the unhoused. That's not their fault. In a lot of cases, we don't do enough in our country to help people out. But they had a ton of security. It felt safe. This was on day one, so we lined up. This line from this angle, this is the VIP line. They had two options: a ticket for $25 for one day, really affordable, or a $60 pricing option for the 3-day pass, and you got a free t-shirt, a hat, which you don't have in here. No, I don't have it. A hat, and then some stickers and a nice little, I do have my bag here, a nice little tote bag. There's IGN Live on it. Really good quality. This is a good tote bag. I love a good tote bag. So $60, 3-day pass. That's already $15 off for the $25 ticket. And you got a shirt, which was about $30, $25, I think. So made sense to me to to do that. So incredibly affordable, first off. And I really, really do hope they keep this as an affordable event. I think it's so important to keep them affordable and to keep it a family event. And we'll talk about this. This was an event for all ages. Not a ton to do for kids, which is, I mean, don't say it's for all ages if you're not going to have stuff specifically for children around, and like, yeah, video games are for kids, they can do whatever. It's like not in this scenario. But that's my former program director of a camp hat getting on here where yeah, I did programming for children, so it was on my mind. But it was a family friendly event, which was cool. They had food trucks to the right. Oh, look at my mouse is showing good. To the left over here, to the right, to the left in this parking lot, they had food trucks set up. I didn't partake in any of that. I mean, it's a food truck. It costs money, obviously, but I just had my own food anyways. But yeah, really cool. So affordable. It needs to stay affordable. We'll see how much it is. The VIP going up makes a little sense. Honestly, though, the VIP experience, it says, it said it would give you a couple different things. And ultimately, I really just don't think it was necessary. To like, the only thing I felt like I got was a 3-day ticket and the shirt and such. They said like you get special seating. I'm trying to get the exact thing they offered, but I doubt I'm gonna be able to find like ticketing info now because it's over, you know. Either way, they did say they had special like, you know, priority seating for panels and other stuff. And when you did go upstairs to the panel room, they did have like a queue for lines, but no one ever went to the lines that I saw. And they did have a VIP and then a general admission line, so they were separated. But I even with the Xbox Watch Party, it never, which had a line eventually, anyone just walked in, you needed a bracelet, one of those pink, you know, paper bracelet things that stick, and then they stick to your hair and then it sucks and then rips it off. I've had arm hair for so long. So yeah, the VIP having the they had priority seat, it never actually came to fruition. Really the only thing that really felt the benefit really was technically saving $15 on the tickets, because it would have maxed out or priced out to $75 if you bought a day pass for $25 every day, and the shirt. So hey, it was a win to me, right? Like saving $15 to go all 3 days and to get a shirt. So that's like what, $35, and then the hat, you know. So I mean, if you want to play that game of justifying a cost, you can very easily. It's affordable. That's what I'm trying to drive home is. And I think they really, really got to keep it affordable, even when they scale it up, because it's so important for us as people in this community, the gaming community, who like this stuff, who want to go to these events and be surrounded by people who also are passionate about this stuff and just nerd out and have fun and be goofy about these games. And, you know, when Marcus Phoenix is getting beat up and he starts finally turning it on that Locust for that E-Day trailer, you know, you have people in the crowd filming it and going, yeah, get him, Marcus, get him. It's like, you don't get that when you're at home watching it on a stream, right? And I think the more opportunities this industry provides for fans to have these experiences, the better the industry is going to be. Right now, we have discourse all over social media, mainly on X/Twitter, and it just gets so negative. And then you talk to other people and you're like, oh, it's not at all what it is, right? That's not the sentiment at all with most people. It's just a loud minority on social media that are just screaming, and that's all. And then it's just an echo chamber, and it's actually no, like, people just want to have fun. People want to be positive and have a good fucking time. and just like, hey, if you're not into that, that's cool. But if someone else is, that's awesome. There are games that I wasn't into, but people were super into and they were popping off for. That's awesome, right? Like Monster Hunter Wilds, that's not a game for me, but man, that apparently showed well behind closed doors. And I mean, the trailer looked cool, but it's just not a game for me. So, and that's okay. But I don't need to post stuff and say it's shit when I could just be in the room with other people and they're like, oh my God, that's awesome. And it's like, okay, cool. Like maybe there's something to it. So these events are important. We got to keep them going. And I hope, I mean, they're coming back next year. So I hope it can stay affordable and they scale it up a little. And it's like I'm pulling something apart. Yeah, I hope they keep it affordable and they scale it up a little bit, because yeah, it was a little small there. So I'm gonna go through some of the photos I took and kind of just talk about it, you know? This is the room they were in. This is their main floor room. So if you watched any of the live streams, their stage, that's what it looked like. This is what it was in the room with them, which was cool. I was really, really interested in the whole production side of it. You know, they're talking to the crowd that I think they're filming right now, and he's the producer on stage. He's, you know, getting the crowd to interact and be quiet when they need to. So the production side was so cool to see them film their live shows in this manner, because I mean look at the production they have. They got stage hands, they got people giving stuff away, they got the talent on stage, they got the camera operators, they got so it's a full production, and it was really cool to see. I love seeing that shit, so we'll talk about that later. It's just a video that they're throwing. I bet that hopefully that sound isn't too awful. Yeah, anytime they were between their shows, they would just start playing cool music like that and throwing stuff out. Just throwing anything they had out. The amount of Black Adam action figures that they gave out to people was so entertaining and funny. I got some posters. I got this cool. I gotta put it up on my wall though, but I got a Borderlands movie poster given to me by one of the whatever the freaking, what are they called? This guy with the mask. Where is he? This is so hard to do. Mirrored right there. They had a bunch of them walking around the event, and I was playing Piscasquela and the Cursed Yo-Yo, and they just came by and handed me a poster. So I was like, thanks. So that was fun. But yeah, they gave out so much stuff. Okay, just more stuff. I hung out on the side right here a lot because so from this angle, right, you're seeing the side of the stage. So if I'm taking a picture right now, side of the stage, behind me are doors to a hallway, and then the game room area, which we'll talk about next, where they had a bunch of games to play. But in this room, they had their main stage with the mouses. That's where you could take a picture of yourself. Bill. There it is. So you can take your picture in front of a nice little not billboard, but of their sign. Right here, you could record a daily fix segment, which they are posting right now out on their socials this week. So people who filmed it are hosting their fix, which is really cool. They had a section over here where you could play games with the host of IGN. So some people were playing Mario Kart with Sydney Goodman and Jeffrey Vega. Smash Bros was being played a couple times. Cool. And then the merch shop. So yeah, pretty decent sized room. This is where, like, when they say it's family friendly and all ages are welcome, and there are kids there about 1 to 2 and in strollers, and then like easily 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There was a ton of kids there on Saturday and Sunday, of all ages, not like number wise a ton, but like a ton of variety. This room was way too loud for any children. It was way too loud, so you gotta at least say like, hey guys, don't, this is loud, maybe provide earphones. I don't know. Again, you just got to think about those little things, because on day one, I said, I'm going to see maybe tomorrow on Saturday, my wife will come with our 9-month-old. That'll be fun to come down to LA, see some stuff. Saturday was not anything crazy. Summer Game Fest show was over on Friday. Xbox was on Sunday. Wanted to see, but I was like, nope, it's too loud in that room, and there's just there's no reason to bring, obviously, a 9-month-old, but I didn't see any reason to bring a kid, honestly, of 3 to 5. Like, unless they were actively like playing games already, there's no reason to bring anyone younger. But people did, so that's okay. But when you say it's all ages, why not bring them, right? Yeah. So that's my used to be a program director of a camp coming in. I can't get rid of that. But they had shows live there. The cast of Rings of Power, or 2 of the members of the cast of Ring of Power there. Fun conversation. Again, cool to see how they record all this and how they move quickly. They reset and they go. It's real interesting. The cast of Critical Role, some of them showing off their new trailer, I believe, season 3. It's the opening title stuff. They added new stuff and redid it for the new season. So they showed that off and kind of did a little panel here. Ran into them in the hallway. Was like, oh, cool, that's Matthew Mercer, and that's Marie Chevalier. Oh, and that, oh my, they're just all of them are here. Okay, and they ran in and like 7 minutes later they were on stage. So it's like, oh man, they were hustling. So that was cool to see. This was on their main floor, and I know Matt. This was on Friday, so I wasn't able to see what he did after. I know he did some game arcade show, a new show for IGN after and such, but cool stuff. This guy was the hype man. I don't know his name. I don't know him. even after the weekend, I don't know. But he was all over the place. He was, if you can see, he looks like he's been on stage hyping people up, jumping around and dancing for like 3 hours already, and he's exhausted. So shout out to this man. Being a hype person on the stage is rough, and this is an 8-hour day, and he wasn't there all 8 hours, obviously, but man, like he was up there a lot all 3 days. So good for him. They had some really cool Fallout statues on display that were up for pre-order. They had the egg from Elden Ring. That was I photoshopped this as I was in the egg. I was bored. Just another angle over here of the stage. I want to point out this kid right here. That is a Mario Mandalorian, a Mario Lorian. We're gonna go with that. He won. What the hell did he win? He won this big thing. They gave him this big ass giveaway item. They gave out fight sticks. They gave out flight sticks. That's kind of funny. I don't think he won the fight stick. I think he won. Oh, he won the giant Legend of Zelda statue collector thing. So that was cool. But yeah, they had like 20, 25, 15, 20 Steam Decks out for people to play. So I took a photo playing Surmount, fun little climbing game that's out right now. Go make sure you check it out. I was playing that on Steam Deck, ran perfectly. Played it on Steam. Don't have a Steam Deck, but man, I really want a Steam Deck now. An OLED Steam Deck would be. I get why people like it. The back paddles. Once I kind of got the feeling of it, I was like, okay, I see how this works. And then like the heft to it, I didn't think it was too bad. But like, it just. Your whole Steam like that. I get why people talk so highly of it. So this was dangerous because I fell in love with the Steam Deck, but we'll see whenever I can get one. So this was in their panel room. They only had one panel room, which they didn't have any overlapping panels, which, you know, maybe made sense. That was kind of the one thing I was like, all right, like I wish these panels added a little more. Maybe I came in with just expecting a little more with my background of going to different events like this for my old job, where we'd go into panels and workshops and like, you know, hour to 2 hour. Very different than a fan event. So I think that's partly what I was like wanting, but I think there is an opportunity to I was looking for a list of the panels, but I can't. I don't want to. But I would love to see IGN provide more for the panels and do more. You know, this one, this image of this one is the TikTok gaming panel. So they had Jeffrey Vega for IGN Live from the IGN team host this panel, and going from left to right. I don't remember all the names. I'm sorry, but I could kind of read on the screen what their names are. I didn't adjust this image. It's all washed out. Oh wait, you know, I can edit it right here. This is silly. Why am I doing this? All right. Anyways, so we had Courtney, who was the TikTok gaming lead for TikTok. And then 2 TikTok streamers here. I know the gentleman does a lot of horror stuff and other things. And Lonnie, I remember her name. She just plays a ton of different games too. Gray hair and tattoos. I remember her. I wish I could remember this guy's name, but his is the hardest to read too. So I'll probably link it in the description. Either way, it was an interesting panel, but it definitely felt a little odd. Felt a little weird. Felt like no one knew what the point of the panel was. But the takeaway mostly I got from it was like which is you can look up online and find a lot of this advice and feedback anyways, which is to be consistent, diversify. Even the TikTok lead saying like all these things that we're telling you here, work on other platforms too, and utilizing other platforms is valuable. But it was also just like, don't forget about TikTok. There's a ton of features within it that can help. And for both of the creators on TikTok, they were saying they usually post a TikTok, then they'll go live like an hour after ish. You know, they'll post just to get like that helps the algorithm a little bit. So there's some tidbits for you if you're trying to create some stuff. there with that, and consistency. So that's really is. But if you're thinking about, if you're creating stuff and you're like, I don't, do I just do TikTok? Do I just do Twitch or whatever? You know, if you can do multiple, try Restream, and there's some other apps out there that can do co-streaming. But yeah, if you're interested in TikTok, don't overlook it. I think I need to do more personally for TikTok. I know that's something I want to grow in more, and this panel definitely kind of made it clear that I had to, but it didn't. It made it clear that TikTok is valuable in growth, which is what I already knew, but the panel did make me go, all right, I really need to do that. But it just reiterated stuff I knew. So, you know, good panel overall. So it was a fun conversation. They were having fun at the very least. So, but again, a little short. I think it was like 35 minutes. It felt like I kind of wanted a little more, and they had audience questions that they sourced before. But I would have appreciated to hear some questions from the audience, because I think that is like such an easy way to like have a panel be really, really good, is to just look at the like, what do you guys want to hear? What do you have questions about? So I thought that would have been cool. Another view of the room. This is the YouTube Theater. Went to Summer Game Fest live at YouTube Theater. I am not a creator that got invited to Summer Game Fest play days. I'm not on the list for the behind the scenes stuff. I don't have meetings. I didn't have meetings that I had to go to. I didn't have deadlines I needed to hit or anything. But like things were spread out, and like it was like, just come on, Jeff. Why is it all the way in Inglewood when everything else seems to be centered in downtown? Come on, man. So it was that felt weird. But I think that's like an old E3 thing where everything was at the convention center. Everything was centered, and now it's just not. So if I had to like jump around the city, I'd get pretty annoyed. So hopefully they can not do that. So this is the panel room again. This is the Xbox showcase about 10 minutes before. This room was full and packed. This was a very fun experience. People were hyped. Clapping multiple times, getting up and down. They were giving away stuff too, of course, so people were cheering to get stuff. But like, I think every announcement Xbox had, a good chunk of people were hyped for, no matter what. Like, it was either most of the room or a good chunk of the room for some of the smaller games and such. It still was cool, like that Winter Burrow game where ended with the owl taking the mouse away, and it just ends, and the whole crowd was like, oh, why? We had 3 hosts for it. That was cool. They kind of talked over stuff every now and then, gave out stuff, not in a bad way, but they added some fun context there. This is the game room now. So as you see, this is a nice little hall they had. They had some stations set up, so the desk with some PCs and everything. Right here they had X Defiant. They had games like Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut was running on PC. A lot of like kind of smaller games that I just on this side that I wasn't incredibly into. However, they did have Still Wakes the Deep, which was shown at Xbox Showcase last year. It's not out yet, but it comes out this month. I haven't seen anything about it. I hadn't seen anyone play it. I just saw what they've released and shown so far. But it was playable. There was a play test for about, I think it was about 30 minutes for me, 35 minutes. So that was really cool. It's like a Resident Evil game where, you're walking through, you got to do stuff for the map to unlock it. It's creepy. Things go bang. I'm intrigued by what they're setting up in that game. So Still Wakes the Deep, check that out. Keep an eye out on that. But that was cool to have a game that like I did not expect to see. To me, like I said, I haven't seen anything about it. I didn't know it was coming out soon. I kind of I missed that fact. So I was like, hell yeah, they got like this game that's so cool. So I hope they can expand upon that. There was a lot of indie games that aren't released that were there. Stuff like Piscasquela and the Cursed Yo-Yo, which is I'm playing this video, so this is in the hall. Damn it, I missed it. All right. We're gonna scrub. All right, yeah, Pipistrello and the Cursed Yo-Yo right there. So this is down farther in the hall after all the PC section that we just looked at. They had some games here. These are a couple little indie games that they were having. These games had some of their devs around for that, so that's cool to have very little conversation with them. For one game, Chain Staff, I kept dying and I kept getting frustrated, but at me, because I was like, all right, jump. Oh, wait, don't jump there. I'm going to die. Okay, if I touch them, you die. Cool. All right, don't jump. And then I jump and then I die. And I'm like, damn it, no. As you see in the video, they had some arcade cabinets as well. Classic arcade games. They had Tetris there. I know this is where they interviewed the creator of Tetris, which I missed, unfortunately, because it took so freaking long to get back from Summer Game Fest. I think that's when they recorded it. So there's a reason I missed it either way. But yeah. This is a cool little Child's Play and NPD. They got together and made resources to utilize video games for therapy. So they gave a little booklet. Oh, it's in my house. That had like recommendations for, you know, if there's a kid in pain in the hospital and what games can help distract from that, or what games can help distract, or if they have anxiety, depression, stuff like that. So they're doing some research into that and such. So really, really cool. Love that little initiative because games can be incredibly helpful and therapeutic. And we're going to be doing some fundraisers for them eventually. Probably August. I want to do like a month-long fundraiser goal for them. So expect that out. But a cool little charity just to provide resources for people, because people in children's hospitals can also play games, and games can be and are healing and therapeutic, which is really cool. All right, yeah. So like I said, I spent a lot of time by this stage, just on this side. Again, what this is on Sunday. This is about the Xbox show is about to start. There were only two rooms, so they had the game room and this main hall, and then they had the panel room. So overall, it felt a little small. It felt like there could have been more or should have been more for people. Again, I went all 3 days, and I'm not just sitting around hanging out with people. I'm there to do the stuff a little bit. I was there just to kind of look and see what it was about. I wanted to cover it in a way like this. So yeah, it was interesting. But yeah, that's why I think having more panels, more opportunities for that, activities, and a bigger game room would help alleviate some of that stuff. But I know on the first day I walked in this room right here, and then they went to commercials, so they were giving out stuff. So I wanted to check the other room, and as I walked into the hallway, this woman was like talking to one of the security guards. She's like, "So is there anything else?" And like she hung on else, and she was like, And the guy was like, "Oh, they have a room upstairs that's not open yet." And that was the panel room. And she's like, "Oh, okay, good." And she walked away, and the panel room was just a room to watch the panels. It wasn't anything special. So I understood that sentiment from them. I got that on day one, and I get it was smaller, and that was cool for what it was. And they did have shows constantly going on though, and they took a break for lunch and such. But I understood I understand with that. But I think it's year one. I expect, like I said earlier, they're going to scale it up. But I thought that was just an interesting comment from them. So this is them recording Xbox Unlocked, post Podcast Unlocked, post Xbox conference. And yeah, they're just, a lot of cool stuff in that conference. The crowd was really hyped for it. It was a great showing, and people obviously were, like the Xbox who showed up on Sunday. I think they were down for what Xbox is doing, and they were ready for some cool announcements. And man, Xbox delivered. It was a cool time. It's me and the egg. That's it. I had a beer. This is my first beer in months, if you're interested. And I was very buzzed for this panel. When I was sitting down, I got so hot in this. It was not a hot room. I was under a vent, but I was like, man, I'm hot. And it was, buzzed. It was a buzz sweats a little bit. It was just an IPA. It was a tall boy though. But yeah, that IPA got me. I was enjoying this panel. But this panel was fascinating. It was IGN with gamesindustry.biz. Where will you be playing games in the future? So a stock expert, I think Van Buren is, oh my God, I want to get this right, because, these people are like, actual professionals. Oh, they don't tell us who they are on this. All right, well, screw it. You think the website where they announce who's going to do the stuff would tell you what they do. But either way, and it's not on the screen. But they had a host from the host from gamesindustry.biz, and then they had some panelists here. And it was just a fascinating conversation about kind of where you're going to be playing and such. And, you know, this guy right here was very much like the younger generation. There's nothing to worry about. They're online and they're going to be streaming. But the thing is, consoles are still going to be there, but like there's nothing to worry about. People will be creative. While these two kind of kept, it was more of like, well, you also have to make sure we're protecting that and such. Interesting conversation overall. I wanted more of that. More out of this, like when you get to the like, where will you be playing games in the future? And it was just a conversation, right? Streaming, do consoles matter? I think that's where like that's probably where this question came from, is from the like Xbox going more digital, everyone going more digital, physical media not being as commonplace anymore, most people waiting to release physical editions as a special thing later on. So like, is physical going to be a thing? And then this is where this panel kind of comes. That's where this panel comes from. That makes sense. But again, I wanted some more. I think this one could have benefited from some crowd questions a ton. Just because it could have been interesting just to hear more of like, hey, you're into the industry and you guys are kind of talking about these things, cool, but what about like to the audience? Like talk to us, like not the people in the industry and such. And I think getting some different questions could have helped with that. But yeah, I thought there were still some fascinating little tidbits in this of like, it's just how fast it's changing and what people are doing, and how ultimately like people are kind of just doing what they want to do, and we'll see if it works. Like, but I think it's ultimately like you have to have options. I think really that's what I got from it, is that they kind of were like, yeah, like who knows, but it seems like options is the best thing, and making sure you protect people. Because like I said, I think this panel could have definitely helped. Not definitely, that adds like it wasn't good, but I think all the panels that I went to could have, like, except the ones that were just showing off gameplay, but like the ones that were this, like, I think could have benefited from some audience questions that weren't handpicked from before, or just not even asked upon. So, and a little more intention. It felt, the panels I went to that weren't about games had the feeling of like, let's just talk and see where we get. Where it's like, all right, I want to get to a point, right? Like, what's the point? Like, at the end of the day, at the end of the panel, there needs to be some takeaway. And I think for both of them, the TikTok one was a little more obvious, but that one, like I said, had a lot more stuff I already knew and heard about. But overall, I think both panels just needed to have a point more. They needed to send people with a takeaway, with a stronger takeaway, other than just, this was the conversation and we'll see where gaming is. Oh, that's me taking a picture and then I realized my flash is on. And this is why I think gaming events are important, and why they need to keep going, and why having live events that are filmed as well like this and people are in the room for is really, really good and cool, because you saw his body language. There were multiple people in the room there. And when you see people on X and Twitter or social media say, like, when Phil Spencer said that he's putting Xbox game, there will be more first-party games going multi-platform, the crowd booed. No, they didn't. They didn't. Maybe one person did. Maybe that guy did. Maybe the person who tweeted about it and said people booed, maybe he booed. But overall, people cheered, because I think, for me, Xbox's messaging is, we just want to provide it we want to make it as accessible as possible, which means putting it anywhere we want and anywhere people will want to play it. And if that means PlayStation games, yeah. But I said it on our Download Q podcast, which records on Sunday at 4 p.m. Pacific time on Badlands Backlogs. We were talking about it. I was saying, I think ultimately Xbox is going to be Xbox Game Studios only on Xbox and PC. And then Bethesda and Activision Blizzard games are going to be multi-platform. Starfield is different. It's an original IP. Indiana Jones, original IP. Original, because that's where it gets a little messy. But it wouldn't surprise me if Indy wasn't or was it on PlayStation 2? It wouldn't surprise me if Starfield is eventually on PlayStation, because it is a Bethesda game under Microsoft Gaming, not an Xbox Studio game. That's what I think is the delineation. And I think people in the crowd are starting to hear the messaging behind this from Phil. And yes, you can always say, it's corporate talk. It's corporate talk. Yes, this is just a human being whose job it is to be an executive. And when you ask him stuff that he cannot answer because it is $1 billion corporation, he's gonna sound like a robot. Sorry. Like, it just is what it is. You could hate that, but like, it is what it is. Yeah. That was not really much about IGN Live there. That's just about Xbox stuff. But the crowd was incredibly receptive to it. I thought the interview was very interesting. I think, it was cool to be in the room live with Phil Spencer giving this interview. That was really cool. The crowd was incredibly focused in. They locked into this interview until they brought out a bunch of other people as well. Then the crowd was like, all right. But overall, I thought, good crowd. Fun time to see this. I want to see more interviews. And this is where I was bummed about. When you announce you're interviewing Phil Spencer before the event, and then I bought VIP tickets that say I'm going to get priority or reserve seating, priority seating. I forget what they said on the website. But there's special seating zones for VIP people. I'm like, hell yeah, like Phil Spencer interview. This was just on the main stage though. So to me, what was the point? What was the point of the VIP if it wasn't just to get a shirt, which I'm fine with, but for stuff like this, like I'm in the same spot I always was, in the corner or in the back, off to the side, because I don't want to be up in the front with people screaming. No, thank you. I like watching. But yeah, I was just like, all right, cool, like that's fine, but this VIP didn't really provide me much other than a free shirt, which I feel like I paid for anyways, but I didn't, I guess, because the ticket was $25. Woo! Either way, I want to see them just increasing in scope would help a lot, because like everyone was in this room, right? And the room was small. For the Xbox watch party, not everyone could get in because the panel room was small, and it's like, how do you not plan these things? Oh yeah, look at how far I've spread my feet. Like, what am I doing? This was a very fun event. I think, like, I hope, like, or they're doing it again. They have announced that they are returning. I saw the part of the PR company talk about it. People who worked the event have been posting about it, just saying they're so grateful and thankful for everyone, and they can't wait for next year and what they have. It's going to be better. And I hope it is, and I think it will be. I hope they keep it affordable for people. I hope they increase it in scope. I hope they are able to get more games to be played. They had some cool games to be played, but like, yeah, it would be cool if they could get something set up. And if you're going to have it be all ages, if you are going to say our event is open for all ages, you can't like not say anything when there's toddlers and babies inside a very, very loud room that can cause permanent damage, and not provide anything that is age appropriate. I think there are so many opportunities within video games and companies like Bluey. Hey, Bluey, you guys do something in LA. You want to come down and have a little exhibit for us so we can have, make this an age appropriate event? Yeah. Have other separate rooms off so you can watch the stage show, but not be in the giant ass loud room. I mean, that's just an accessibility thing, right? If you're, if you get overwhelmed with loud ass noises and crowds and people, you wouldn't have had a fun time at this event. But if you could stand, like upstairs in the panel room, which was significantly quieter and not so crowded, and watch what they were recording live, you could have been a part of it. So I think there's a lot of growth for accessibility and actually being a age appropriate event for all ages, or, you just also have a recommended age then. But I guess, people are people, parents should be parents, but also, accept some responsibility for your event. But also take the opportunity to do something for people like that. Because I think an event like this I think is necessary, like I said, and it helps people not get caught up in the bullshit online and the negativity online, and see that no, gaming is really, really fun. And if you actually just talk to someone in good faith about something that you may not love or maybe you don't know about, you might change your mind about it. You might at least understand why they are super into it. But I think the point I'm trying to say is once you're talking to people about what they love, it gets a little easier and it's a little actually harder to be negative all the time. Well, that's going to do it. Thanks for watching, everybody. It was a fun weekend. Very, very fun. I can't wait for next year and see what they do, how they improve upon it. Hoping we get more panels. I hope we get more, a bigger room and some more exclusive stuff, some more hands-on games that we could play and such like that. And hopefully I'm a part of summer play days next year. Hopefully I've carved myself a little corner in this industry for myself in my sphere of influencers, not influencers, but my little sphere of people. That's all it's about. Well, I think that's going to do it. Thanks again for watching. Make sure you like and comment down below. Make sure you let me know if you went to the event and what are your thoughts about it, or if you watched the live stream from home or wherever. What were your thoughts and how do you think they did it from a perspective of not being there, but from watching the live stream? What was that experience for you? Comment all that down below. Make sure you subscribe to the channel as we get more stuff out. My Hellblade 2 review is coming. Honestly, there's like some emotional stuff to it, like that I don't want to just like shy around, you know, like there's a lot of like, it's like personal growth is happening with this game. It's absolutely fascinating. That's why I want to like do it right, not just for the game, but like for me, like I haven't been happy with it. And then I went to this event, lost my weekend, and then now I've been hanging out with my wife and my daughter. So now we're back to it. It's Wednesday recording this, so we'll get going. So make sure you follow on all the social channels such as Kyle the Fish 30 on X, Kyle the Fish 30 on YouTube, and Kyle the Fish 30 on Twitch. And it's Kyle the Fish 30 on Instagram, but I didn't animate that yet, so you don't see the little thing. Either way, make sure you go follow to stay up to date on all the stuff as we continue to work towards getting stuff out. That's what I'm working on. That's it. Anyways, thanks for watching again, and we'll see you next time. Bye. It's not a stream.